I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
Why don't we go quick, because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We made it to the Ides of March. It's a good month. We just had UFC 35, and there's a lot to talk about. We almost got a full house this week. It looks like we only got one. One of our little siblings, didn't sleep at home tonight, but everyone else is in the house. We got 2 Canadians and 2 Americans. Look at that. We're even.
Symmetry.
Equality, baby.
Symmetry.
Equality. I'll start with the show elder. Bradley Tashuk. What's going on?
What's up?
How are you?
Last time I was here, I said don't call it a comeback, but it might actually be a comeback because shortly after that, I found out I was moving back to a regular human schedule, and my evenings are once again free. So, I might have to make that West face when James Vick is walking out to the cage, just in awe of my own abilities and returning to the podcast. So happy to be back.
I'll hand it over now to your fellow Moosehead, your fellow maple syrup, your fellow red and white brethren. New Sean, how are you?
Doing
Mooseheads
well.
are East Coast.
Yeah, that's
East Coast.
That's
Jay.
more East
Coast, West Coast.
But doing well. It's March. We're almost out of the deep freeze, getting close, but still got a couple months to go.
3 months, great.
But yeah, it's a good time. There's some good fights happen on the weekend. Some wild shit. I think it was a pure MMA weekend. Just all kinds of crazy shit happening.
And now we got the Sodsman, Mr. Kentucky. How are you? Basketball's flying. You got racing, but we'll stick with basketball since that's it's the pastime down there. Are you still feeling as confident as you were, or are you starting to feel that the march is tightening on you?
Oh, it's a great time around these parts, man. It's stuff's in our blood down here, but we need our boy Travis back. That's going to be the key. We've talked about it all year, though, man. This tourney's going to be fun. It's wide open. There's 5-6 teams that can win it. Got to see if Puke's going to get that super freak back, Zion. So yeah, good times. Getting into March, always a fun time of the year. Anybody but Puke. Anybody. People don't.
Even Louisville. Louisville.
Look, people don't understand. Like,
I'll put you on a spot. Even Louisville.
I'm going into it, man. It's literally like having split personality or some shit when Duke and Louisville play. Like, that's a mind bender around here. They literally don't know what to do.
It's like punch yourself in the face or punch yourself in the dick. It's all.
I've always looked at it as like, if at least it's my dick I'm punching. You know what I'm saying? So always fuck Puke, no matter who it is, even if it's Louisville. At least I can, punch my, It's still the hometown, so fuck Puke. Anybody but Puke.
There we go.
A big UFC 235 card. A lot went down. I'm trying to figure out what the best place to start is.
There's so much.
There's so much. Man, this is tough. I feel what most people are talking about shouldn't be what this number one story is. So I'm going to start with, there's a new champion. I'm happy about it. I don't know if you guys are happy about it, but I'm happy about it. This was an ass-kicking, wasn't it? It was an ass-kicking.
Yeah.
Very surprising. Yeah. I mean, I just complete domination. Like, I know it wasn't the most damage, but just statistically and like just all around domination. Like Tyron Woodley just didn't show up and was completely just dominated by Usman. I think even the biggest Usman fans thought there'd be a little more resistance than what Woodley put up, but yeah, that was impressive. That was one of the most impressive, underdogs. Or I mean, I guess it was close there, but impressive title challenger taking the title from a long reigning champion.
Yeah. Like Sean said, he maybe not like damage wise, but even statistically, it's one of the biggest blowouts in UFC championship fight history. I mean, we've been, most of us on this show been on the Usman train for quite a long while. But even I couldn't see that, man. I mean, Woodley's like takedown defenses, I believe 98% or something, the highest percentage in the entire sport. Like the way Usman was, it was very, very impressive. This dude's a problem, man. I really cannot wait to see him put his hand on Colby Covington. Like he is gonna maul that dude. Anybody. All the Covington fanboys have been running around for 2 years talking about how Covington, like, I want their opinion now. Like, seriously, you're a complete fanboy if you didn't watch that and didn't think that Usman is a very, very bad matchup for Colby Covington. And, like, even people that I saw picking Woodley was like, Usman has Division II wrestling credentials. Woodley is like All-American. Like he's not going to take Woodley down like that. I mean, he did it a few times with some ease, man. Like that was very, very impressive. And I thought you saw it at the weigh-ins, man. The size difference that Usman's going to have over these guys is incredible. I don't know how that dude makes 170 pounds. Like he just dwarfed Woodley in the cage, man. It was incredible. And just think that guy's going to get better, man. I mean, his hands are still very, very basic. I mean, he doesn't have much in the boxing realm yet. Just imagine when that comes along too. So yeah, I want that Covington fight, man. I want that bad. Forget going after Covington in the buffet lines out in Vegas. Even though I hate Covington as much as anybody. God, I wish he could put his hands on fucking Ali. I would pay pay-per-view money to see Covington put his hands on Ali just one time. God, I would pay for that.
Ali's got to be one of the 5 most dislikable people in MMA, right?
He's a fucking scumbag, dude, all around.
He's a rat
scumbag. Yeah, he's a fucking scumbag. But the bad part is with all that is the dude's got so much pull in the sport now. Like you don't get paid or get title shots almost unless you're his client now. It's
not that much. It's not that much. There's other guys.
He's got a lot of
shit ton of guys.
What happened to the other guy, Malky? What's he up to? Is he just hanging with John?
They still got a bunch of guys.
He's still with John. Yeah.
And he's got a bunch of guys. He's got Romero.
For as much shit as I give McNutty, when during that Habib press conference when he went after Ali was one of the better moments of MMA last year. That was absolutely wonderful.
Almost as good as Eddie Alvarez talking about Connor's other kid.
Connor's baby. Yep.
Almost as good.
Yeah, that was good.
That's the first time you've ever seen Connor literally be speechless. Fucking speechless.
Yep.
Then he went after
real quick on Usman and Woodley. I know a lot of people are shocked how it went down, and like to me, I picked Woodley. I expected that he was going to be able to land something, do something during the fight, but we've seen this before when somebody backs him up and he doesn't find the opening to land that shot. He just doesn't do anything. Same thing happened against Jake Shields. Same thing happened against Rory.
It's just been a while. That's
exactly.
But he was terrified of Usman's wrestling. That completely shut down his offense.
Well, and to Wes's statement about the size, Isn't Usman's Twitter handle still like Usman84kg?
84,
Yeah.
This dude used to wrestle at an international level at 185 pounds. Like, he's a big motherfucker.
Yeah, he's huge, man.
Yeah, he's better. We get it. But Brad, at what point in this fight did you realize that Woodley was toast?
Round 2.
It was round 1 for me. I was trying to live bet the shit out of him.
Couple minutes
I figured that Woodley would still have a chance to throw and land because he didn't take a lot of damage. He didn't lose a ton of energy in the first round. So I was like, he can still catch him coming in round 2. But as soon as he didn't there, it was just like, oh, this is a wrap.
That was very fun.
I enjoyed it. So do you see any way of a path for Covington though? Like, is Covington going to take this guy down and hold him down for 25 minutes?
Well, that's the only way he wins, right?
I know, and I cannot see that. I just can't see.
He's a worse version of Usman, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like a less athletic version of Usman.
Yep.
He might have a better gas tank.
Worse hands.
I don't even know if that's true.
I know.
No one knows.
The volume that Usman has put out in his past 2 fights for 25 minutes, I don't see how you can question his gas tank.
And Colby looked to slow down a bit
hands,
versus Maya.
Hands.
Yeah, hopefully we get that one.
I think that's next.
The fight. Yeah, that's the fight.
That's definitely the fight to make.
Oh, and talk about one last thing. Usman did all that with a fractured foot.
Which was wild.
With a fractured fucking foot.
You only need 1 foot to fight. Let's run into the card, and then we'll get into certain fights. Definitely a lot more than others. I'm sure there's a certain fight on the main card that we'll spend quite a bit of time on, and some of its reffing fallacies. Let's just call it what it is.
Ooh, are we talking about fallacies again?
Oh, nice. Well, we'll get to that too.
We're very phallic oriented.
Yeah. So the first 2 fights in this card were female fights. One we certainly won't be spending any time on was Hannah Cyphers beating Polyana Viana by a split decision. The second fight, on the other hand, Macy. How do you say it again?
Jason.
Is that our new Dubras? Jason.
Mr. Chittle.
Defeated Gina Mazzani. She flat out KO'd that girl, didn't she?
Flatline almost.
How'd they call this a TKO? I mean, come on. This is a flat line. And it took her less than 2 minutes. This girl's real, isn't she, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, she looked good coming off tough, man. She's had some knockouts in the past. I really thought a sub was what she was going to get here. I bet that a little bit because she's got some real nice ground game, but man, she's massive for this weight class.
Oh yeah,
the length on her, man, the hands look pretty good. She was a little wild though. I mean, she came in a little wild a couple times early. But yeah, I mean, any chick at 135 that's knocking girls out like that, I mean, I'm down to watch another one. You know, I will say about Cyphers though that I got a low plus 200 on that, so I do want to throw that out there.
I hit it in Townmaster, and I was pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I did too.
I think we all did. We all kind of called that fight. We thought it was a lot closer than what it was, and then it ended up being
in that line, yeah,
with a big dog. So, yeah,
Mookie line,
very
Mookie line. Middleweight, Edmund, coached by Edmund, Ronda Rousey's client. Ronda's now in the game.
Yep.
Client. I know. Glendale Fight Club's best MMA fighter? Maybe? TKO round 1 over Charles Byrd. He learned those CTE elbows from Travis Brown. Yeah. He even said it after. I knew he was going to say it. It was great. This is like literally like, oh my God. It was like Groundhog's Day. I was like, how can we not see this coming? Of course a Glendale Fight Club fighter who trains with Travis Brown would know how to CTE elbow somebody. Edmund's undefeated in the UFC. He's undefeated in his career. He's on the Ronda path to greatness.
I don't have Fight Pass anymore, so
down here.
So I've got nothing. I got nothing. Don't have Fight Pass, and I was too lazy to go find a stream. So
that was a hell of a knockout, though. That was pretty awesome.
Break that down for me. Oh, this is really sad. Wes, give me something here now.
Yeah, I thought it was a hell of a knockout, man. That was pretty awesome. I mean, I think Edmund might be their only fighter, so maybe he gets like all their fucking their focus.
Default,
but I mean, hey, I think he's like 22, man, at 9-0 with a couple wins. I mean, say whatever you want about Edmund and Glendale and all that shit, which is deserved. I mean, it's still something to be 9-0 at this age and have a couple wins inside the UFC. Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued a little bit. Yeah,
just give Edmund a couple more years with him.
Yeah, like get the fuck away from Edmund. Like, run away from Edmund before you're doing those fucking over the shoulder fucking those boxing drills that Ronda does. Like,
this dude is born November 20th of 1997.
Yeah,
he's 21. He's barely 21. He is super young.
Do we think we're gonna get the first fighter born in this millennium to fight in the UFC this year?
No.
Or next year?
Not this year. A 19-year-old?
Isn't there there's like a chick that's like 19 or 20.
Those don't count.
Oh,
that doesn't.
Oh, well, yeah. He said those 19? Do not count. There's like some 19 or 20-year-old chick, ain't there? I can't remember her name.
That's fucking young, man.
I could have sworn there was. I know there's a 20-year-old. Thought there was a 20-year-old in the UFC. I could be wrong though.
I think Edmund, when he signed, was the youngest fighter on the roster. But he fought last year, so he was 20 at the time. It's hard to get into the UFC at 19.
That's young. Like, how are you getting enough fights?
Unless you're a sibling and they know about you, you've been training with that.
Even then.
Like, Sergio Pettis came in really young.
I mean,
Sergio Pettis, Dan Lozon.
Right.
I think of the other ones.
Who else was really young?
Put in a call. You know.
Northcutt was really young, right?
I mean, would we be surprised if Dana was like, yeah, sure, Ronda, I'll give your boy a fight? I mean, he gave him a shot on Tuesday Night Contender Series, I believe is where he got his first fight anyway.
How much would you pay to be a fly on the wall to hear the Ronda and Dana negotiation over Edmund?
Oh, God.
I'd rather be a fly on the wall when Dana's old lady saw that video
of Colby
of him at the blackjack table with some Asian chick. That's the wall I want to.
Okay, what was that?
Can we just talk about what kind of douchebag walks around a casino filming in the first place?
Well, you know exactly the douchebag.
Yeah, there's one dude. There's one fucking guy. And how about him at the workouts yelling at Usman, and he's got that little bitty baby fucking...
The smallest bullhorn you can get,
He's sitting there with a MAGA hat and a little bitty fucking bullhorn like, dude, could you look...
Trying to make my hands look bigger, come on.
That's right.
This is actually a regular size bullhorn, guys. I've just got giant hands.
I'm just massive.
Then seriously, like, do you want like career suicide or what? Like, you're running around trying to film your boss in the high roller suit with some chick that is not his wife. Like,
yeah, that is just smart.
Maybe that's his card partner. Maybe she does the math for him.
She really hightailed it out of there pretty quick to be.
Yeah, dude. She skated out like
would it surprise you?
She left.
She looked like she was in an office chair. That thing had wheels on it.
Just
is she a flat earther?
Jason, she a flat earther.
Jesus Christ.
But Colby's definitely the type of dude that'll buy some of those little mini bananas, take a picture of his dick next to it to make it look bigger.
Dude, I got a hammer.
Oh, shit.
Oh, that was fun. Moving up, and it gets even better. How was this not the consensus?
Because I'm a fucking idiot. That's why. I told you last
week.
week.
You said it.
And every Twitter nerd was
the first time in 11 years, Diego Sanchez finished an opponent in the cage. Mickey Gall ran out of gas in about 2.5 minutes. Brad,
this was literally a perfect fight. Like, holy shit.
It's been so long since Diego finished a fight that I actually watched it live when it happened.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Man. Whew. Yeah. This was literally just like classic Diego. Dude got tired. He didn't. And he just kept pouring it on and pouring it on and pouring it on. And Mickey Gall quit.
The guy who was also fighting has no striking, which also helps for Diego not to get punched in the face. So in retrospect, not even in retrospect. I mean, you guys talked about it. This was pretty much the perfect matchup for Diego at this point in his career. You fight a guy with sketchy cardio, and he's a jiu-jitsu guy. Diego never gets subbed, and Mickey Gall has no striking. So the only thing I'll take from this is maybe I'll get a bit of a cheaper price on whoever Diego fights next time, because if he has a pulse and can strike, I'm probably going to fade Diego.
If Diego fights like Tony Rocco Martin next.
Hey, I will say there were a couple of moments in that fight where Mickey caught Diego a couple times, and it was like, dude, he looked glassy eyed, like you got a little worried, man. His chin and head is that gone. But man, how you didn't lay over 2-1 on Diego in this fight? Like, you better give this game up, because this was the perfect spot for Diego. It got no better than this. I thought it would be another 29-28. Like, I did not see Diego dropping the hammer like that.
He can still wrestle, and he's still conditioned. So
he's
if the
good.
Guy can't hurt you on the feet, and he doesn't get submitted. So that was the scenario. That's why I bet it, and I'm with you. This was, I thought this was an excellent. This was an easy fight to call in hindsight.
You could have listened to the analysis and got that 2-1 for free, or you could have paid the Twitter touts fucking $49.99.
You didn't need to read 7,000 words on this fight either.
Who could have guessed that Diego was going to beat a guy who beat a former world champion? I mean, come on.
Yeah. World champion. One fight that I don't think anyone really cared about. Cody Stamann took out Alejandro Perez by decision.
It was a fun fight.
That's really arguable. Let's move up, though.
Our boy.
Friend of the MMA Analysis, Magic Johnny Walker. I made that name up. He deserves to be. He could be an extra in the Magic Mike movies. I think we all know why. Another 36 seconds. It didn't take long. It didn't take long at all. This guy, I mean, flying knee. This shit looked effortless. He was still on his way up, Wes, wasn't he? He could have KO'd with Stefan Struve with a flying knee here.
Man, there's just something about this dude, man. Like,
got the X factor.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen hundreds and hundreds of fighters, man. We've seen a lot of good fighters. There's just some dudes that have that confidence, man. That's just a game changer. There's just something about that dude, man. That guy goes as far as he wants to go. He's got to quit doing that dumb shit worm and dislocate his shoulders and shit.
MMA that was great.
Yeah, he's got to stop that shit. But man, I mean, to time a knee like that and just make it look that effortless is incredible. I mean, we still got to compare all these guys at this weight class though to the one true king, and none of them's there yet. Maybe later on down the line, but none of these guys are there yet. But yeah, Johnny Walker's the man. I want to watch him fight every single time.
So I was on my way to the bar when this fight was happening. I literally walk into the bar and he's laying there on the canvas, like I'm like, what the fuck did he actually lose? I was so confused. This is the replay, and he knees this guy in the face. I said, I had no idea what happened. I was just like, what happened? Is he just sitting there praying in glory? I had no idea. But
I went to take a piss and came back, and it was over. And I saw him laying on the ground. I'm like, did Misha knock him out? Like, this quick? And then I saw, like, all the dudes huddled around Misha holding him up, and I was like, oh, no. Something weird happened.
Oh. I'm going to lose so much money betting against Johnny Walker continually.
I'm betting against him.
Well, I am, and I'm going to just continue to lose money because I'm just going to...
No, I'm betting against him the next time he faces anybody that can wrestle.
There it is. That's what it is. And I thought Misha could do it here. I mean, 36 seconds, it is what it is. I specifically said he needs to survive the first 2 minutes. If he can survive the first 2 minutes, then he's got a shot. And he didn't survive the first 2 minutes.
I don't know how many guys are going to be able to do that at 2:05.
Johnny Walker is Houston Alexander in 2019.
Yeah.
He's better than Houston Alexander.
Yeah, he's better than that.
Man, you can go watch his old fights. He has got some big holes, and I know he's knocking people out. It is the light heavyweight division. There are absolute dumpster fires in this division, and he can get these guys, but at some point it's not going to go, and we got to see what he can do, and I don't know.
I mean, he's still 26 years old, so we got to think that he's improving from those first fights. But I mean, I agree. We got to see him against a guy that's going to spam takedowns and shit on him. You know,
somebody is going to laugh. I mean, 2 minutes.
Throw him in there with fucking Glover. You know, I mean
might be a Mac
that's the test though. Now at 205, I'm telling you, Glover's the fucking test for dudes. He's a tough fucking out at 205. He'll test you every which way. You know.
You give me Glover at almost plus 200, I bet him in that fight.
Yeah, you'd be on him.
He won't be plus 200.
Yeah. Well,
so are we going to alter Johnny Walker's nickname based on his performances? So right now, is he like Johnny Walker Gold?
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
A couple more wins, and he's up to Johnny Walker Blue.
No.
And then he loses a couple, and he's like down to Johnny Walker Red. Is that what we're doing with this guy?
Well, I mean, he only goes to blue if he gets to the title. I mean, that's how this works.
Well, yeah, a couple more wins, he'll be at the title.
Yeah, he's probably 2 fights away.
Title, we just got to say Pappy Van Winkle and call it a day. Yeah, see, that's going over people's heads there. They don't even know.
Is that an old person's joke, Wes? I don't know it.
No, that's a Kentucky bourbon joke. Nobody even understands.
Oh, you're saying it's really crappy, or
no? That's some of the rarest bourbon on the planet. So
we're calling him a rare breed. Another guy who might be a rarish breed. Damn it, Mad Sharapov. I guess Wes came away with a lukewarm performance and is pretty easy decision win over Jeremy Stevens. All right, Wes.
Yeah, I'm not. The skills are there, man. That dude's awesome. I mean, all the skills are there. He's unbelievable. But I mean, it was Jeremy Stevens spamming fucking overhands at him, and he still gassed in the third. Like, I mean, you think that dude's going 5 rounds with Max Holloway or something? Get the fuck out of here, man. Anybody that puts pressure on that kid for 3 or 4 rounds and he can't get him out of there, and it's not like he's got some massive punching power and stuff. I mean, I just think at this point he's in some trouble in some 5-round fights against some tough guys. I mean, I think he can probably get there. He might have a chance to fight for a title one day, but I mean, you imagine Volkanovski or somebody coming and spamming takedowns on him for 25 minutes. I mean, he's got a lot of holes, man. I like the guy. I think he's got unbelievable skills, but I mean, that gas tank is very, very questionable.
Well, super tall and skinny. Nushan.
Yeah, I don't know why his gas tank is bad. It's not like he's got huge muscles.
He's not carrying a lot of weight.
He's not carrying a lot of weight. He's a pretty good striker, so he should be like efficient when that's where most of the fight is taking place. So that is a bit scary. You could definitely see the skill difference on the feet. He was just a lot cleaner and used his reach. But like you said, Wes, he doesn't have big knockout power. So against guys that can wrestle and have cardio, they're going to stay in that fight, and that's when it gets dicey. He did show his decent wrestling and couldn't do too much on the ground there, but he was able to secure that second round, which was important, obviously, because that third round he gave up. So he has that in his back pocket, but I don't know how elite that wrestling is once he goes up against some better guys. So he's still good, still better than what I think a lot of people think, but he's definitely got some things to shore up.
Ryan, give me your take on the Russian.
Can we stop saying that guys are exciting just because they throw really ineffective, fancy shit?
Yes.
Because, like, I went into this fight, I think this is the second Zabit fight I've seen live. I saw his UFC debut, and I was like, not bad. This guy's pretty good. He showed some skills. And, like, I just don't find it all that entertaining to watch the guy. Like, he's obviously very talented, but you've got people that are just blowing him left and right. Mm-hmm. And he's a talented fighter. He's got good skills. And they are just enthralled by the fact that he's willing to jump off the cage and miss his opponent by 6 feet. Like, it's crazy to me. He's a good fighter, obvious issues with the gas tank. And I think he's going to end up perennial, like, top 5 to 8 sort of featherweight unless he really shores up that game, because he doesn't have the stopping power to get rid of the best guys, and he doesn't have the cardio to hang with the best guys.
And we talked about that after the first couple of his UFC fights, where it was a lot more. He needs a lot more substance and a lot less style, because he was throwing wild shit and it wasn't really doing much. And it seemed like, I mean, we thought that it was kind of zapping his cardio and being a waste. And I mean, like you said, it's cool he can do this, but unless it's gonna do a decent amount of damage, it's kind of pointless.
When he was having his most success in that fight was when he was pumping out that jab and just following it up with a straight right.
Yeah,
and
just
he was
clean 1-2s.
Just clean 1-2s, and he was working in the leg kicks, and he was working Stevens over when he was just doing basic shit. Like, it's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that other shit doesn't mean anything, man. And it's definitely wasted. It's wasted energy. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, if he sticks to the basics, man, he can be really good. I'm not sold on top tier level yet, title challenger or anything.
I would love to see Volkanovski fight him instead of that Aldo fight they're talking about.
They don't
love it.
Volk would fucking work that kid over, dude. Straight up. He would work that kid. Volkanovski's legit, man. That guy's fucking good.
Australia, when Chad Mendes shatters your brain and you don't go out and you come back and finish him.
That was incredible. Like, I'm legitimately, like, worrying about Aldo now. I always bet Aldo. It's like an auto bet. And I'm worried this time. That should say a lot,
Yep.
Depends what the line is. There's always a price.
Auto's plus 150 or something. It's getting bad. I'm just going to have to eat it. I mean, he's made me so much money. Fuck it, But Volkanovski's like a problem, man. I think he's a problem for Aldo, too.
Main card. This was fun.
Ooh, this might be my favorite.
There was about 30 or 40 seconds of pure absolute chaos in this fight, and it
idiocy
was glorious. 3 times in a row, not 1, not 2, but 3 times in a row. Cody Garbrandt got night-nighted. Pedro Munoz, of all guys, KOs the dum-dum, the Bang generation, Cody Garbrandt. I'm going to ask this question to Brad first, our historian here. Is Cody Garbrandt in men's MMA, is he the worst champion of this decade? Other than Michael Bisping.
Oh. The worst champion of the decade. Whew. That's
I have a strong.
Does this include, like, interims and all that sort of shit?
I think we should all like legitimate champions.
I don't think he's bad, though.
No, he's not.
So I'm going to say no. No, he's definitely not, because he's a very good fighter who makes very stupid decisions.
And is very
it looked like he was playing a game of drinking Twister, and passed out right in the middle of it, the way he fell down.
This has been a pretty tumultuous fall, I have to say. Wow.
Yeah, I tweeted that night that the dude does. He literally has top of the food chain skills, man. His hand speed and foot movement is some of the best in the game. It's some of the best you'll see. But
he's a mook.
Kapoza put out a little video, dude, of literally it's the same exact shit. Not just getting knocked out 3 times in a row. It's the same combinations, same combo. It's him getting tagged. He starts winging and then literally gets fucking knocked out by the same exact punch. I mean, there's just the dude. I don't know, man. He just loses. His brain shuts off, dude. He gets tagged and his brain fucking shuts off. I like Munoz in this fight. Everybody was picking Cody. Everybody I seen on Twitter was picking Cody. I don't know if I seen a dude picking Munoz. I thought Munoz could catch him and get him out of there, but I did not think it would be fucking them 30 seconds of just Cody winging fucking some of the dumbest shit you can throw, man. Props to Munoz. I mean, that dude got clipped a couple times too and stayed in there, but yeah, I think Cody he's not going to go down as the worst champ because, like Brad said, the skills are there. We see how good the dude is. I mean, he did beat TJ. That's one of the best guys in that division.
I mean, Cruz.
But, man, Cruz.
He made Cruz look like he was fighting in quicksand for 5 rounds.
Yep.
And that's what's crazy when you go back and look at that. That's crazy. But, like, somebody said that on Twitter. I was like, the thing about it is, like, Cruz doesn't have that power to turn Cody into the mook that he is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like any dude that has the power that can fucking get him rattled for 1 second, he goes crazy. Yeah. But yeah, the dude, he might possibly go down as the dumbest champ ever because it's legitimate that guy gets hit and everything goes out the window. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. Literally, never.
It was so crazy because like 90 seconds into that fight, I was starting to watch it, and you could see him start to like move his head and get a little bit of that swagger back that he had from that Cruz fight.
Looking good, yeah.
He looked good before. Another 90 seconds later, that headbutt happened, and then everything went out the fucking window.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he looked good. I think he looked close to the good Cody before the headbutt happened. It was accidental. It is what it is. And then he just went on autopilot, and his autopilot is just so bad. And all alpha male has just fallen off. There's a pretty good interview with Justin Buchholz, who's from on the TSN MMA show with Aaron Bronstetter, and he's the former alpha male coach, but he kind of got pushed out by Faber, and
the good alpha male coach.
Yeah, the good alpha male coach that was able to get Cody to be calm and use his skills and movement against Dominic Cruz in a 25-minute fight. And he just gets in these fights where he's emotional and the coaches don't have the skills to calm him down and get him to back out, and it's just a waste. I'm just pissed. Yeah. I had 2 units on Cody here. I thought he would be I thought he was doing all right, and I thought he could do this over 3 rounds, but obviously that kind of goes out the window, and I knew that was a possibility where if he does get clipped, he could be in trouble and just go just dumb-brained. But man, just pissed that we never got that Lineker fight, because I think I know what would happen in that Lineker fight. Yeah, we do. And I was going to get like plus 200 in that fight, and that's a missed opportunity. It is what it is, but it seems like he's going to be one of the most wasted talents unless he can figure this shit out.
I think Munoz needs a little props though now.
Oh, for sure.
That dude's a badass, man. That guy's been in some scraps, and for a dude that's like was a jiu-jitsu world championship coming into the UFC, I mean that dude's pretty much turned into a black house kickboxer, and just throws down with dudes, and he's won more often than not, man. That dude's a badass.
His losses in his career are John Dodson by split decision, Jimmy Rivera by split decision, and Assunção in his UFC short notice debut by decision.
Yep. He's
that's crazy.
Very, very
he's
good.
Legit. Yep.
And hopefully this gets him a big step up, and we'll see what he can do against the very, very upper echelon of the bantamweight division.
We may have a new China goat. I gotta say, I was surprised. I lost money on this bout, but Weili Zhang is freaking huge for a strawweight. I have no idea how she makes weight, and she kind of ragdolled Tisha Torres here. I gotta say, I came away pretty impressed. Our women's expert, Wes, I'll defer to you.
Yeah, I said it on the show last week that I was a little worried about Zhang, that her wrestling is pretty damn good, man. She's won some trophies just doing that wrestling, but yeah, I mean, Tisha she was too small here. I'm not overly surprised by it, but I mean,
you have to say it was a bit surprising because,
yeah, I mean,
like we said, Torres has lost to 3 basically champions. That's the only people she's lost to. This is finally the first person that she's lost to that wasn't a top 4 ranked fighter, and a chick that has 2 UFC fights. That's fairly impressive.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't that big of a fave, I guess is what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, it was a little bit surprising, I guess. But I don't really give a shit. Like, that was some of the most boringest shit. I don't want to watch fucking Weili Zhang wrestle some other 115-pound chick. I just don't care.
Spot the one that doesn't belong on that main card. We got the insaneness of the Garbrandt Munoz fight, then the craziness of the Askren Lawler fight, and then a couple title fights, and in between that we had this fight.
We had 17 minutes that nobody will ever get back.
Yeah.
Never again. Never again.
Now for some fun.
For now for some fun. Himself. I don't even know what to say here. One guy lost, but got his hand raised. This guy was out cold.
Yeah.
He was put on his head and punched into oblivion. Any other referee on any other night ends this fight. He comes back. Then this weird choke situation, and Lawler doesn't tap out, but Herb Dean decides to stop the fight. I'm gonna start, and I'll start with Brad. Let's put it this way: how long ago was it when Herb Dean was considered one of the top, like, if it wasn't the best referee, but the second best referee in MMA? And how quickly has this gone downhill? How many big fights have there been where Herb Dean's had a what the fuck moment? I feel like it's got to be countless now, right?
Countless now.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty harsh metric to judge refs by, because like every ref has their fuck up moments, but his are coming more and more frequently.
And he's the one getting these big fights,
the big
so
assignments.
Then it's amplified, which is
and they're happening in these big fights, and it's bad.
For this fight, though, I will say that, like, obviously when Robbie Lawler lifts him up over his head and gives him the fucking attitude adjustment, John Cena style, and then when Lawler hit that first punch under the armpit, I was like, oh my god, Ben Askren just died. And then he hit another one, and I was like, oh, just stop, like, somebody get in there and fucking end this. Like, what's going on?
Most would've.
And somehow, like, you gotta give credit to Mask, Eric, whatever that kid's name, Eric Stoltz. You gotta give the kid credit. He's got one hell of a chin on him.
Holy shit, that's it.
So the fact that
sharing this motherfucker's corner.
the fact that even though he was out for a second, that he woke up and he was still able to do anything at all after taking that slam and some hammers from Robbie Lawler is fucking incredible. It just sucks the fight ended the way it did.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, actually. I really do. I was more mad than anything else in that fight that we didn't get the finish of it, to let it play out. Even if Askren had won, which he looked like he could have been on the way to doing. Like, I wanted to see that play out. Like, I would have had way more respect for the dude that I don't hate Ben Askren. I think he's okay. His shtick's pretty decent. But if he would have actually came back and won that outright, finished the choke on Robbie, actually choked him out cold and stuff, it would have went a whole lot more to Ben Askren's credit. I think he could have gained a ton more fans by doing that. I thought we was robbed of that moment. And what was leading up to be one of the craziest rounds in MMA that I think we've ever seen. I mean, I don't ever think we thought that Robbie Lawler was going to do the attitude adjustment on Ben Askren. Literally, he knocked him out. Ben Askren was fucking out cold. Robbie Lawler woke him back up. And then, like Brad said, for Askren to survive that and stay in it is incredible. Like, that was fucking awesome, man. I wanted to see how that played out. That's what made – I'm more mad at Herb than anything else, than Askren or anybody else. Now, as far as the choke, I mean – people said so much stuff about it. I think we've all seen it. The only thing that matters, is that when Herb checked him, he fucking gave him a thumbs up. That's the only thing that matters. And whether you think his arm was limp or any fucking thing else, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is when Herb grabbed his arm to check him, Robbie gave him a thumbs up. That's all that fucking matters. I was fine with him not stopping the fight when Askren woke back up. Yep. I was cool with that, but I want him to fucking leave Robbie alone. Let Robbie be fucking out on the mat, or at least fucking shake his arm and let him be out. If you're not going to stop it when you can look and Askren is fucking out cold and you don't stop it, you got to give both them guys especially Robbie Lawler. These guys. Yeah, and especially Robbie Lawler. That dude is earned that in this sport. I don't think the arm was limp, me personally, and this is why, because I've seen so many fights where dudes are in chokes and they relax their arms. Then a dude a shift or something and they'll raise it back up and start trying to pull on an arm or pull on the choke and stuff. I've seen guys rest their arms so many times on the mat and it looked like they're limp. I think that's what happened here. I could be wrong. He might have went out for a second. The reason I don't think is because it was so fast. Like it was literally seconds. I don't think Robbie was out 1 second with his arm limp on the mat, and then the very next second he's getting his arm grabbed, giving a thumbs up. That's why I don't think his arm went limp, but I could be wrong there. He could have went out for a second. But like I said, the only thing that matters is when he was checked, he was still fucking conscious. So, and I don't guess you run that fight back. I don't think it's really... No. I
don't think either of them want to.
No,
it was a stupid fight.
It was a stupid fight to begin with.
Yeah, it really was. The fight to make was Askren and Till. I think we all know that. That was definitely the fight to make. But I give Robbie all the props in the world. That dude is 100% class. But I also fault him for that because he should be calling this shit out. He shouldn't be okay with this. He shouldn't be out there saying Herb's a good ref.
Nothing's going to change.
Exactly. And he knows it. We all know it. Herb has fucked up a lot in the past couple years, man. And it's getting to the point where something's got to be done. I'm not even saying he shouldn't ref fights. He just shouldn't be reffing these kind of fights. Like, there should be some kind of grading system or something to where you're stuck on prelims. I mean, they ran other guys
until you can go for a while without fucking up again.
They ran other refs out of the sport by them fucking up, and that was back in the day before they even really had all this training
when nobody cared.
Exactly, and they ran off Mazzagatti and them years ago for doing all the same shit Herb is doing now. So there's got to be some change there, but yeah, I guess Askren's going to go over and call out Till,
the winner of that fight.
The winner of that fight. I don't know what you do with Robbie. It's still, that's going to irk me for a while, man, because I don't think we're going to get too many more performances like that from an all-time legend in this sport. And I'll never forget him dumping Ben Askren on his head and knocking him out. That's just, I'll never fucking forget that.
Well said.
Can I just add one more thing about the arm thing going on? So Lawler had Askren on his left side. He had his right arm reaching up and around Askren's head, which was accomplishing absolutely nothing in the scenario. And then he let his arm come down. Like, just where else is your arm going?
Exactly. And regardless of how it fell, the job of the ref is to confirm the guy's awake. And even if he went out for a split second, when he moved Robbie's arm and he gave the thumbs up, it does not matter. He is still there and he is good to go fight.
That's as bad as it gets.
Why even lift his arm at that point if you're just going to be like, oh,
yeah,
why even checking
anyway?
Yep.
Why even checking? Yeah,
it was just a complete fucking brain fart on Herb, and that's unfortunately what it is.
As soon as Robbie stood up, I was like, "Oh fuck, man!"
Yep.
That video they had, like, he was like, "Oh fuck, man!" Like, that's bad, man. You can't shake a guy's arm and then stop the that's bad.
Thumbs up.
I don't even know what an explanation. Like, what's your explanation for that? There's, I don't know, man. That's one of the. Hey, we've seen guys pounded on and shit where we're yelling to stop fights and shit, and Herb's just looking at a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like. Yep. There's just no rhyme or reason to his decisions anymore.
God damn. And everyone knows you got to drop the arm 3 times before you call the guy out, right?
Hell, I ain't watched wrestling in like 20 years, and I fucking know that shit. Yeah.
All right, I think we beat that one to death enough. We go on to the main event now.
Yes, the main event. This was a weird fight. Somehow there was no finish. But I felt John was as dominant as he's been in any fight he's been in. He literally had Anthony Smith so fucked in the head. Anthony Smith couldn't even throw a punch. He had no idea.
He did nothing.
He had no idea what to do. He was so confused. He admitted it after a fight. I mean, that's literally the ultimate way to beat somebody besides knocking them into oblivion is to make their. He froze. He had no idea what to do. What do you think?
A bit of a frustrating fight because I think if Anthony Smith, takes some more chances, I think John gets a finish there. But just because of the way that Smith fought and how just completely shut down he was, John really couldn't find an opening. I was impressed by Anthony Smith's takedown defense. John Jones could not get him down, which is surprising considering we've seen Anthony Smith get taken down multiple times by a bunch of other fighters that do not have the wrestling credentials that John Jones does. So that was a bit disappointing. And honestly, I gotta call John Jones out for being a fucking idiot. He is one of the, most intelligent fighters in the cage, and then at the same time, he's one of the dumbest. What is he doing at that point in the fight, throwing those knees? When he was throwing those knees, when he was on the ground, I was like, why are you doing this? Like, this is not going to finish the fight at this point. What are you doing? And all you're doing here is asking for trouble. And what happened? He fucking kneed him in the head. And if Anthony Smith is an actual, like, if he's a normal fighter that would just be not, I don't even know what you want to call it, just not a good guy, he takes the DQ, takes the money, gets paid. He's millions of dollars richer, but instead he's a good guy, so he keeps fighting. Dumb as fuck. Yeah. John Jones just about lost his belt again by doing dumb shit.
Yeah, Anthony Smith, man, like I got a lot of respect for the dude for not doing that, and he even said it after, like, I'm not going to win a title like that. But goddamn, son, I mean, you literally just threw away a couple $1 million. I mean, you threw away a huge payday. I think 99% of every other fighter out there would have took that DQ. And you was talking about Jones up. He did start to get Smith down in the fourth round, I believe. Before that knee, like he was working him over. He had his back and was throwing those shovel punches. Was landing some fucking crazy elbows up to the side of his head from his back. And I actually think that John probably gets a finish in the fifth, if not for that knee. I think after John landed that, I think John kind of like Bones took his foot off the gas after that. I think he actually felt bad about it. Like I really do. I think he's like, man, I really fucked up and almost threw away my title. I think he just sat on cruise control in the fifth. It's still crazy to me that I've seen people out there like, oh, I told you John Jones ain't what he was. He just went. How you go 5 rounds with Anthony Smith and shit like this? Is like, dude, that was one of the most dominant performances you've ever seen in a title fight. Like you said, he literally had a guy clueless. Like there was times Anthony Smith was just standing there next to the cage, like didn't know what to do. He didn't throw a punch. He didn't throw a kick. He didn't try to bob. Nothing. He just didn't know what to do. That was just complete domination. Bones with that knee, like you said, God, he's just, I don't know, man. There's some times where you're just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing in the cage and out? I don't know what you do with Bones next. There's a couple young hitters out there. I mean, do you give him the Santos fight? I love me some Santos, but I mean, he's not going to beat John Jones. I mean, the most intriguing thing I think I've heard all week is Rumble Johnson saying he wants to come back and fight Jones at 265. I mean, I'd be down with that. I mean, I think we know how it would go, but they'd be intriguing for a couple minutes until Anthony Smith or Rumble Johnson fucking gassed out and turtled up on his back and got choked out like usual. But Rumble Johnson at go look up Rumble Johnson right now. Like that dude he might be one of the scariest looking men walking the planet, dude. That guy's literally like 285 now. Fucking just massive. It's insane, dude. It literally looks like he's got a golf ball on top of him. His head looks like a golf ball just on a mound of muscle. Like it's insane.
He always had a small head, and now you're adding even more weight to that body. Like, oh my god.
Now he's 100 pounds heavier than he used to fight at.
Yep. Insane. That guy made 170. That guy made 170.
Yep. He ain't making shit.
I think we got to get. I think we got to see Bones DC one more time. That's my personal opinion. There's just always going to be these fucking DC nut huggers out there. These Bones haters that are always going to claim steroids. Fucking give him the fight another time. Let him fucking knock out DC one more time. And then we can go whatever pulsing you want to talk about. He knocked out DC 3 fucking times. So that's the fight I want to see. I don't know what else you do with Bones at this point, but he's still the GOAT.
Heavyweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the fight people want to see.
They want it. There's fights up there. I mean, there's
that's
Brock.
what they want to see. Him and Francis.
There's Brock. There's Hogg. Yeah, there's the Hogg fight. I mean, there's some fights out there. It makes it a little intriguing. I mean, a guy like Hogg with that power. I mean, yeah, there's always that chance. But I think we always thought Rumble had that chance at 205, right? You know, but we still all think Bones would beat these guys. I think, you know.
Yep.
Dude's a freak. The guy's an absolute freak, man. I don't know what else you can really say about Bones at this point. Just that I wish we had the 205 division of about 15 years ago. You know, it would just be. I mean, could you imagine that Pride 205 division? John Jones fighting in that, Brad? Oh, God,
man,
my God!
Get John Jones in some tournaments.
Yeah,
that ain't happening.
I mean, not anymore, Jay, because MMA is worse than it used to be. But
yeah,
it's a man can dream. Man can dream.
That's true. I agree with that.
So should we announce the main event of the UFC Florida card? it just got announced. It's not actually going to be. It's not actually going to be YOLO versus Lil Drunk.
What is it going to be?
It's YOLO versus Jacare 2.
Oh.
Like,
it's okay, but it's not
it's an incredible fight, but you can't tease me with YOLO and Drunk.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I don't know why they did not go with that one.
It was too good. It was too hot.
Just doesn't.
It was too hot of a fight.
As amazing as that fight is, it just doesn't do it for you after hearing YOLO, Lil Drunk. I mean,
even Jacare, Lil Drunk, I'll take. The rematch, ugh. I mean, I'll watch it. It's going to be fun. It's just...
Because you kind of want new blood, and you want to see, like, a new buck try to get a shot at the old guard.
Yeah, but I don't know what they do with Lil Drunk now.
Whatever they want to do with Lil Drunk, hopefully sooner than later.
There's just not... I mean, this was his step up. I just don't know if there's much for him.
Cannonier?
Cannonier's fighting Anderson.
Yeah, no, Cannonier is putting Anderson in a body bag.
Hell yeah.
Hey, dude, I'm telling you, motivated Cannonier is fucking. He's insane, dude.
The black
Alaskan.
You talking about the black
Alaskan?
The only one. I feel like I say this every time we talk about. He's got to be the only one that's ever existed, right?
That's got to be like a superpower, right?
Yeah,
like a superpower. Like you might as well be Iron Man or some shit.
The stars aligned, man. The stars have aligned.
Hey, that dude's a problem at 205, though, man.
Oh, come on now. You got a little crazy now.
He's done. All right.
185.
185, yeah. I mean, he's going to put Anderson in a body bag, and then we'll see where it goes from there, but...
We can hope.
I remember when he first came in, we were like, I wonder what he would do at 205. And then there were a couple people who were like, I think he could even get down to 185.
Oh, he's just absolutely fucking shredded at 185.
Didn't he say he could get to 70?
Oh, that would
I
be...
No, that's too much.
I mean, that dude's fucking hog weighs 10-15. There ain't no fucking way.
The only way he can make 185 is because he's missing the foreskin.
He doesn't have. Francis has a different problem.
Brad's back.
Wes, if Cannonier is at 10 to 15, then what the hell is Zagano?
He's a fucking DJ. He's DJ Wade.
What's Tito?
What's Tito? He's probably Happy Face Tito? Now that's a different story.
Yeah, I'm talking about here.
It's a far different story.
Dakota Cochran?
Cochran?
I would say we got to go diameter in that.
Cruikshank?
Don't we got to measure like looseness or something? We got to measure diameter.
Tony.
Holy fuck! What are we doing here?
So the UFC is going to Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, that's why we're off the rails.
We're talking about sizes.
You know what this card needs? Some Baroni.
Any card needs some Baroni.
Brad, there's a fight on this card that's going to start this event off. Something called Dan Morit. I think you know what that's about. He's taking on a guy named Alex White.
Shockingly know who most of the guys on this card are.
Where in there?
Moret's fought a couple times in LFA, and he wasn't great, and UFC is worse than it used to be, so now he's in the UFC. So it's...
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't think he's a UFC quality fighter, although I don't know, like... I remember when we used to joke about how that had lost all meaning, and now it's gone even further. Yep. But I can't trust him to come in here and get a win against a guy who actually has some wins in the UFC. But at that point, it's Alex White, and you can't trust him either because he does stupid shit and gets his ass kicked by Jim Miller. So
in 2019.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Alex White's going to win the fight, but I don't want to bet this.
Fine. Does anybody want to bet this?
I mean, even all the marinara in the world is not going to help Dan Mort in this situation, but no chance. After losing a good chunk of money on Alex White against our buddy Jim Miller last time out, I am not touching it, but I'll pick the more skilled Alex White.
Is Dan Morit a lab fighter?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Oh. You can't smell the parsley and the fucking the marinara sauce. Yeah, Sean's right. Fuck Alex White. The money I lost on that dude against Jim Miller, man. Like Alex White he's got some UFC fights, but he's fucking like 2-5 in his last 7, and one of those wins is over fucking Flowball. So, I mean, this dude's not very good either. So, I'm probably gonna pick the dog in Toutmaster, but I think both these dudes are just garbage. Correct. No.
Flobov Malinaji coming to a bare knuckle boxing near you.
Yeah. Look, I try to tell everybody they're all going crazy. I'm like, y'all just don't know. Malinaji's over there with the black guy pointing to his temple, gift like one step closer to the fucking Conor fight. One step closer.
Yep.
I got White at C-, Dan Moore at a D. One is I think is a UFC fighter, and one I don't think should be. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not going to spend any more time on it.
Yeah, probably.
Alex White, better striker, more power, should win this battle. Next fight up, this feels like it's a little bit of like a retirement type of scenario. We got Alex Morano taking on Zach Otto. Wes, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think Morano. I think Morano's fucking terrible, man. And you can say whatever you want about Otto, but I mean the dude's still only 32 years old, and he's a tough out. Every time you know he's going to come to fight. I took a little shot here, man. Plus 195 is a bad line, in my opinion. On Zach Otto, I don't care how terrible you think he is. I think Morano is fucking trash, and I'll take almost 2-1 to fade on him anytime. Nothing big, just a small shot. But yeah, I got Otto in this fight at that kind of price.
New Sean.
Yeah, I really couldn't give a fuck about either of these guys. These are the most basic, no-name white guys going against each other with no aspirations to be even close to a ranked fighter. So
that's fine.
I'm good on that.
All right, Bradley, anything here?
I'm still just impressed that Alex Morano is using the same stock photo on Tapology. It looks like it was taken when he was 18.
I mean, he hasn't had hair since then either.
Right?
He looks a little less white nationalist in that photo than he does now.
Do you think he had a different nickname back then? It was like the Great Border Crossing or something like that. I don't know.
The Great Wall of Mexico.
I got Morano a D+, Zach Otto a D. Otto's way older, doesn't have the gas tank. Morano, he plods forward. This is a fight he should win. I mean, Otto's on his last legs, I feel. I mean, he got beat up by Sage Northcutt. That says a lot. I'm going to have to take Morano. But he's definitely not a guy you want to trust with your money. He's just not. That's really as simple as it comes. We got Louis Smolka taking on Matt Schnell, former Toutmaster player Lucas Smolka.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the MMA Analysis, right? Wes.
Yeah, I kind of liked Schnell before he got into the UFC. I think that he hasn't progressed too much at all of what he was back on the when he was fighting back in Legacy and stuff. And I mean, just something about smoking. I think all the stuff in his personal life does make a difference, making those changes. And I think this fight's going to go to the mat, man. Schnell likes to get on the mat and fuck around, and then Smoker does too. I just think Smoka's a little more dangerous on the ground, man. He goes for shit. He'll put himself in bad situations to take you out. And I know Schnell's got a couple victories his last 2 times out, but man, they're against some guys that are just very, very bad. That split decision last time out was not good. So I took a small shot on Smoka here. I believe I got it like minus 115 or something like that, right around that. It's a close fight. I think Smoka's a little bit more dangerous on the mat, and I think that's where his fight's going to play out.
All right, Nushan.
Yeah, I grabbed Smoka at plus 115. I got a nice number on him for a unit. It was about a week ago now. He has looked a lot better since he's kind of turned his life around. Obviously, the competition that he's facing is a lot weaker than he was facing in the UFC. The guys he lost to in the UFC were pretty damn good fighters. And I don't think Matt Schnell is on that level. Like Wes said, he has some wins, but they're against pretty poor fighters. I think this goes to the ground, and Smoka's able to show his better submission skills and maybe wrap up a sub. So it's somewhat close fight, and I got plus money on Smoka, so I got to take him.
Bradley?
Yes, Schnell all of his success in his career came at flyweight. And the fight, his last fight against Inoue was at flyweight, and now he's moving back up to bantamweight, right?
Yeah. So Smoka is too.
Yeah. But Smoka's got a bit of a bigger frame. Like I can see him actually making that transition.
Yep.
I just don't think that Schnell is built to fight at 135 against quality fighters. Like, he'll still find a couple wins here and there against the guys at the bottom of the barrel that he should be beating, but he's going to be one of the victims of whatever the fuck is going on with the flyweight division. And I think Smoka gets him on the ground, and there's a couple fun scrambles, but eventually Schnell just gets in too much trouble, and Smoka lands a bunch of ground and pound on him, and maybe wraps up a sub, or maybe it just sort of rides it out for a decision.
Interesting. I got both these guys. Actually, no, yeah, both these guys at D. You know what we always say about BJ Penn, motivated, in shape. I'm going to say that about Lewis Smolka, and I'm going to leave it at that until he proves me wrong. I think you guys nailed it, that he's changed course, and he's a better fighter for it. But need a little more proof in the results before we get too crazy here, but I'll take Smolka to get the W. I don't think we're going to spend any time on the next bout, I don't think, because I don't... Why is Maurice Green now in the UFC? I thought he was a world-class runner, Wes. What's going on here?
No, he's he's pretty decent, man. He's a really good kickboxer, man. He's just a little bit susceptible on the mat, but he's gotten that a little better, man. The dude can bang. That dude, Michel Batista, that off the Ultimate Fighter, that dude was a Olympic Cuban wrestler, and he choked him out on that tough finale.
I remember that guy now.
I was on that hit that pretty good that night, and I'm telling you, these two guys fought on LFA, I believe it was, and I mean, it was just Hughes kind of getting takedowns on him and holding on him. I think if Maurice Green has shored up that takedown defense just a little bit more, he can connect with something here, man. I took a little shot at plus 190. I think that's worth the price. I think he opened it like even money. This is a close fight, and it all depends on what guy gets their game off. And I think Maurice Green is improving a little bit. So, I took a small shot, nothing big, but I think he can get a knockout here.
Nushan, you got anything for me here?
The total's 2.5 with juice on the over in a low-level heavyweight fight. Like, punch me in the dick. That's all I got.
That's very much like you, Brad. I'm going to say you don't have a take on this one.
You know what? I've actually seen Maurice Green. I remember him getting a triangle on some guy on LFA. And like he had to throw it up a couple times, he had to get taken down a couple times, but eventually he found it. So for a fat dude, you know, he's got a little bit on the ground. So I don't know. I could see this fight being interesting, but I do like that that concept of under. It's just pretty tempting.
I got no take here. I am gonna pass on this one. Let's move up. We got Grant Dawson. There's some hype there. Taking on, he's back, Julian Erosa. Wes, does Erosa have any shot to win this fight?
Probably not. But I mean, I could give a shit less. I don't know how you lay juice on Grant Dawson here either. But Julian Erosa is fucking terrible. No money whatsoever on this fight for me.
Okay. New Sean.
Well, I'm dumb enough to put him in a parlay. I'm fading.
You should win.
I'm just straight fading. I'm fading Erosa. He is bad. He's dropping down in weight. So I took Grant Dawson. I put him in a parlay for 1 unit.
Brad.
Nebraska is in the building.
Yeah. You know who's also from Nebraska? The Ellenberger boys.
There you go. How are they doing these days?
Washington State versus Nebraska. Ooh. Just two hotbeds of MMA.
I feel like if I looked at Grant Dawson and he wasn't from somewhere in the Midwest, I would probably want to bet him here, but he is from the Midwest, and
it's an issue.
Fighters from the Midwest are generally terrible, and their records are terribly inflated, so I'm not going to.
You know what Jimmy fights out of?
Do I want to know?
Glory
Hole, MMA and Fitness?
The Glory Hole.
You know who comes out of Glory MMA and Fitness?
The James Krause.
You nailed it.
Oh, that's
one.
City one.
Tim Elliott. His gym? Don't he have his own gym now?
He owns his own.
Duper Bob. Yeah.
Oh shit! Those hands, son.
Anthony Gutierrez, Megan Anderson.
Yeah, that's the whole KC crew. Yeah, so he's training out of Kansas City.
Yeah. Fuck here.
Timmy Elliott.
Learn how to speak. Jesus.
It's Australian, sir. That's how they pronounce it.
That is not Australian. That's just stupid. If you want me to pronounce your name Megan, throw like 3 more E's in there.
He said that ain't Australian. That's just stupid.
I mean, I don't know what I think of Grant Dawson yet, really, but I know what I think of Julian Erosa, and he is terrible. He's not a good fighter. I'll take Grant Dawson here to get his first UFC win in his UFC debut. Another women's fight. Who's not excited?
My goodness. Why? Like, is there not a rule that they can only put one of these on a card?
Fuck no.
This is the only one.
They put about 3 on these cards.
Last card was back to back.
I got 3 coming up in a couple weeks live.
Nashville has 3.
Oh my!
Ugh.
So we got.
Who is asking for this? Who?
If you heard the name Yana Kunitskaya, you just assume that's a female gymnast from the Soviet bloc, right? Yeah.
Or a figure skater.
Yeah.
She's fighting a gym teacher.
Trish.
Renault.
Trish.
Who knows?
Marion Renault, Yana Kunitskaya, Wes, give me some quick thoughts, and then Nushaw, tell me if you're betting the over or not.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how somebody's minus 175 in this fight. I'll just leave it at that.
That's fair.
One of these actually has skills, and one's not a fucking phys ed teacher.
What's wrong with being a phys ed teacher? Watch it.
That's arguable on the skills.
I'm honestly tempted to bet $1 on Kunitskaya by TKO. It's plus 10-15. I can't play the over in this fight. It should hit. Kunitskaya, when she's been winning lately, it's been pretty much all decisions. And then when she loses, she gets crushed. But I don't think she's going to lose here. I might toss a dart. Who knows? But I'll pick Kunitskaya because she actually has some skills.
Oh, the happy one done ticked up a little bit. Okay.
The happy one.
Yeah.
Man, I just watched
the
the
walkout song.
Oh yeah, that's right. How could I forget? Anyway, we got Brad. I'm not even gonna ask. I got Kunitskaya a C+, Renault a C. I kind of agree with Wes that like this line should be closer just because, but Kunitskaya is definitely a better striker. Renault, I feel like the only time Renault is dangerous when she's trying to triangle somebody once she's already been taken down by an opponent. So it's weird, but I'll take Kunitskaya. Definitely a decision. I don't see Kunitskaya getting a finish. Nushan, your over should be okay here. One fight I know we want to talk about, though, is we got Sergio Moraes taking on Anthony Rocco's Modern.
Call him that name.
We don't do that. This is fucking Tony.
It's Tony
Rocky.
You can identify as whatever you want to identify with, but I am going to call you Tony fucking Martin.
That's right.
Yeah. Tony Martin's a way better fighting name anyway. What is he thinking? All right.
I mean, when you're under Team Lloyd Irvin, you probably got to change your name from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta keep those fucking charges just as far away as you can.
He's not a Lloyd Irvin guy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
No, he trains with fucking his girlfriend Kayla Harrison. I thought
He's
he
been
was a top team guy.
He's been there in the past. He's been at a few gyms.
He's been at a few gyms.
Yeah,
that's an interesting relationship. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think the wrong guys is favored here, man. For some reason, I don't know. I guess Tony Martin has got a couple decent wins his last couple out, but man, I was on Jake pretty big in that last fight, and I'm telling you, he was tooling up Tony Martin up quite a bit. I thought he was up a couple rounds, and then, man, he got caught with I think it was a body shot, if I remember right, and then got choked. So it was kind of a little bit of fluky stuff. Props to Martin for getting that, but I don't see that here, man. I mean, if this hits the mat at any point, it's a wrap. I just can't see Tony Martin playing any kind of game there. And I mean, Sergio Moraes is like, this dude is completely underrated, man. You know the only dude he's lost to in like 6.5 years?
The welterweight king.
Fucking Usman. That's it. That's the only guy he's lost. I mean, some of the wins ain't like, world beaters, but he's easily won some of the Ben Saunders, Tim Means, David Ramos, Lucan Chagas, Neil Magny back in the day. So yeah, dude, very, very underrated fighter. Still only 36. We know how good this guy is on the mat. Man, I haven't bet it yet because it just ticked up another 10 cents to plus 180. I'll be on Moraes pretty good in this fight. I think this is a really, really good spot for him. And man, this gets to 2-1, over 2-1. That's just crazy to me. I'll be putting a pretty big bet on Sergio Moraes.
All right, Nushan.
I already played Sergio Moraes. I got plus 161. I thought that was a good price to take it at, and it's even better. So I'll be looking to add some more, considering it's up to like plus 180 at some books. Yeah, obviously Moraes has the jiu-jitsu advantage here. I know Tony Martin's gotten better, and I think possibly he might be a black belt now, but there's no way he's anywhere near Sergio Moraes.
Levels.
On the ground. Yeah, levels to this shit, right?
You got a fucking great black belt. That's about it.
2-time world champion in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and I don't think the striking is that far apart. I think Sergio can hang on the feet. I know he kind of fell in love with his striking a bit too much after he knocked out Omarion way back when. But I feel like he's cleaned it up. He knows his bread and butter. I think he's going to get a takedown and be able to do some damage on the ground. I might even sprinkle some inside the distance. It's at like plus 320 or something like that. I might sprinkle on that. I just think this is it's a close fight. I know Tony Martin's decent, but Sergio Moraes is a pretty damn good fighter and underrated. He is 36, but he's a young 36.
He is. He actually really is in the fight game.
Yeah.
It's because he's so happy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Happy dance, man.
He's like the happiest dude in the history of the world.
Dude.
If you're not cheering for Sergio Moraes, then there's something wrong with you. Yeah. So Tony Martin has moments in fights where he looks really good, does cool shit. Sometimes it gets him a win, but then he has other moments where he has absolutely no idea how to string it all together. And I just think there's going to be a few more things happening for Sergio Moraes here. When they're on the feet, Moraes knows that he's probably a little bit outgunned if he just lets it be a technical striking battle. So he's going to come forward. He's going to wing some of those hays that he wings. Might catch Martin with something on the feet. But I think that he's going to force Martin into this being a fight in tight. And once it gets in tight, whether it's in the clinch or when it eventually hits the ground, you got to give the edge to Moraes. Obviously, we've seen some decent grappling moments from Tony Martin, but he's not going to pull shit off against Moraes. So I'm on board with Wes and Sean, and I think that Moraes is going to find a way.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing that could possibly happen on this fight card would be Sergio Moraes being submitted by Tony Martin.
Yeah.
That'd be wild. That would be wild. He would have to be like absolutely rocked unconscious, and then
Herb Dean would have to be repping,
absolutely rocked, and then somehow puts him unconscious. That's
right. I got both of these guys at C-. Tony Martin certainly made improvements. And on the feet, I think it's a fairly competitive fight. Maybe a slight advantage to Martin, just based on volume. But any sort of grappling is going to go to Sergio Moraes. He's just, it's not that Tony Martin's bad from a grappling perspective or submission. I actually think he's a little underrated, but he's not facing a multiple-time world jiu-jitsu champion, Brazilian national champion in jiu-jitsu. The guy is legitimately like a top 5, top 6 jiu-jitsu practitioner in the UFC right now. And that's the difference here. I'm really surprised at the line. I gotta be honest. I thought this was going to be line basically a pick'em. Tony Martin's 2-1. Yeah, that's a real surprise. That's a surprise. So Tony Martin, we'll be rooting against Tony Martin because Sergio Moraes is our consensus bet of the fight card, and he's now sitting at, what is it, plus 180?
Plus 180.
Yep. He's anywhere from plus 160, 165 at some spots, all the way up to, I'm seeing...
6.
Yeah, plus 126 a sport bet. Yeah, so that's definitely getting some number. It looks like it may even trend a little more up. I don't know. I don't know if he'll get the 2-1 odds. I think that might be.
I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna roll the dice.
There he goes. We'll see what happens. But he is our consensus bet for this card. Moving on up to the main card, which is also on ESPN Plus. Really the whole card is. I don't know why they have to separate them, but that's another issue. We got
international markets. That's who.
We got Canada. One of Wes's favorite fighters, or Nushan's favorite fighters, Omari Akhmedov, taking on a grizzled beast, Timmy Bosch. Wes.
Oh, I'm glad Brad's back. This shit's good. I think Timmy Bosch is I think he's done, man.
Bosch be with you.
I really do think he's done here, man. I'm not high on Omarion or anything, but I think he should win this fight. I don't know if I trust him enough to bet him yet. His line's come down a little bit. If he keeps coming down, I could see him. I could see him catching Boach with something at this point, man. That dude's just. I think he's beyond worse, but we'll see. No bet yet, but the pick is a Marion.
Wash Timmy Borscht.
Wash Timmy Borscht. There you go.
Who's Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're gonna bet Tim Bosch, you might as well just take him by TKO because it's gonna be tough for him to win a decision at this point in his career. Omarion hasn't fought since this end of December 2017, so just over a year. It's not a great. That's a pretty bad layoff. Didn't look great in that fight, so I think this is just two fairly shitty guys fighting each other.
Yeah.
I kind of do think it's a coin flip. I'll take Omarion. He's just a little bit younger.
Dum.
Yeah, I like Omarion here as well. I think he is a type of guy that wins rounds, whereas for Boach to win a fight for the past, I don't know, 10 years? Like it's at least 5 years for Boach to win a fight. He's losing the fight, and then he just lands a shot and ends up winning the fight. And that's what happens every single time. That could definitely happen here, but is there enough of a chance of that happening that he should be almost even money in this fight? I absolutely don't think so. Also, I'm not entirely sure that this fight is going to happen because, Zach Otto and Tim Bosch are the same person. So I'm not sure if they'll be allowed to fight twice on the same card, but I guess we're going to find out. Even with the layoff and everything and knowing that he doesn't have a good chin and he's got some cardio issues, I'm still kind of tempted to play Akhmedov here. Like, there's a lot going against him, but Timmy Borscht is worst.
That's good. Put that in the
book. Man, this is a tough one for me. I got Akhmedov a D+, and I got Tim Bosch a C-. This is, man, I think Bosch is more skilled, but my problem with Bosch is like every second or third fight he looks like a different fighter, and then the other two fights he looks like he can get beat up by anybody. But it's that one fight every couple times that really makes you think that he should be able to beat Omari Akhmedov. But he's older, and it's a struggle. I'm going to be different, contrarian. I'm going to say Tim Bosch, but we shall see. Next fight, I'm looking forward to it. Beneil Dariush returning, taking on Drew Dober. Classic overachiever.
Yeah. I think Benny should win this fight more time than not, but man, there's something about Dober, man, that uglies a fight up, man. Yeah, he uglies a fight up, and I think Dariush he has problems with those type of guys that he can't just kind of sit back and get his offense off. Guys that get in his face, man, and make it an ugly, dirty fight. He's had problems with those dudes, man, and he's been pretty good over the past couple years. His only loss is to Ohm in the past 3 or 4 years. I just think the price is a little off again in this one. Like I said, I think Benny's probably the better guy, but it's almost, it's like Dober's almost like that Barberina guy, just with actually a little bit more skill, I think. I think he can get in here and dirty this fight up and get a tough decision here. So at that price at plus 170, I'm going to take a little shot on Dober here.
New Sean.
Dober has been fighting some pretty piss poor competition.
That's the truth.
Absolutely.
Josh Berkman.
Woof!
Frank Camacho and John Tuck. Those are his last 3 wins. And,
John Tuck is terrible.
He didn't finish.
But he's winning.
He's definitely winning.
But he lost to...
Benny's getting knocked the fuck out.
That is the problem.
Unless he's fighting Dariush.
Dariush that chin is just such a liability. We've seen it over and over again. The Nijum fight way back when doing well gets knocked out. Barboza doing well in that fight gets KO'd. He wasn't doing well. He just got ran over by Alex Hernandez. He did come back, looked okay against a newcomer that has barely a heartbeat. So it is a decent turnaround. He last fought in November, so it's not too long of a layoff. That'll probably be good for him. But this fight just screams stay away. Dariush, the more skilled fighter, but Chin is liability. Dober, not great, but can make fights dirty. So I'll pick Dariush to win the fight. But yeah, too dicey for me to put money on either side.
Brad, I'm going to ask you this. Is there an older-looking 29-year-old in the UFC than Beneil Dariush?
He's seen some shit, man.
He's 29?
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yo,
I mean...
He's an old 29.
I think Zach Otto at 29 was probably than he is.
Dariush needs to start losing some hair, and then he's going to age like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be one of those dudes that has that really, thin, wispy, dark hair and just won't let it go. I can picture it already.
Oh, sweet comb over with, 4 hairs.
Nice.
Yeah, Drew Dober is... he's always done more with his MMA career than I ever thought he would. Decent cardio kickboxing, decent takedown defense... the guillotine defense always been a liability. We saw that going late. But I just don't think he's got enough here because he doesn't have enough power to really threaten Dariush's chin. And if you can't take advantage of Dariush's chin, you're probably not going to beat him. So got to go with Dariush here, but I think it'll be a relatively competitive fight. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
Okay, fine. I got Dariush a C+, Dober a C. I don't think anyone would argue that Dariush or that Dober is the more skilled fighter than Beneil Dariush. I do think Dober is a bit more resilient and can take a bit more damage, and that definitely makes it a little worrisome. But I'm going to say that Dariush is able to actually get this fight to the ground a little bit, and that should be enough to get the W. I'm a little nervous about this one, so I'm not going to make the bet because others have sort of suggested that Darius has definitely had some issues absorbing damage, and that could be a problem potentially in this bout. 4 fights left on the card. This one, I think, is pretty interesting for a heavyweight fight. Am I the only one who thinks that? Maybe. We got Blagoy Ivanov, the man who's been stabbed 26 times, versus the guy we haven't seen in forever and friend of the MMA Analysis, Ben Rothwell. At least he's a friend of mine.
Guy who got stabbed by USADA.
Different kind of stabbing. All right, what?
Yeah, this is a little interesting fight. Yeah, I think, man, there's a path for both guys here. The thing with me is that the Rothwell layoff is just it's pretty long, man, and
3 years.
Yeah, I mean that's getting to way out there, and Ivanov he got back and got a pretty tough fight with JDS, but I mean thought he did okay. JDS clearly won, of course, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of to me who's going to be less of a sloppy fat fuck in this fight. And, I just think Ivanov is going to be a little bit less sloppy and can land a little bit more, man. I still haven't bet any money on this fight. It's hard to, man. But if Ivanov keeps coming down, he gets to. I mean, he just dropped a little more to minus 125. For some reason, people's betting Rothwell on past shit that I don't know. I mean, he choked out Barnett. He's still living off that from 5 years ago or whatever, 3 years ago. Who knows, man? I don't get it. How's he coming back off the fucking juice? 3 years. I lean Ivanov. No bet yet. He gets the even money or something. I'll have to sprinkle on him.
Nushan.
Yeah, Rothwell had that weird string of submissions that nobody could really figure out what the hell he was doing, and he was tapping out Barnett anyway, who's a pretty high-level grappler. And then he ran into JDS, and everybody was hyped up on Rothwell, and JDS just kind of had a good performance.
Wonderful.
That night. Yeah, it was a good thing to see.
He was even money against JDS.
That was crazy. Yeah, a lot of people were picking Rothwell.
That's like some Frankie Yair shit.
Yep.
Everybody thought Junior Dos Santos was done at that point, and then it's kind of the same thing against Ivanov. JDS kind of was getting undervalued there, and he put on a pretty decent performance. He's still a tough matchup against certain guys, guys who can't just get inside a lot and just have that huge power. JDS is still a pretty decent fighter. I lean of Ivanov. He doesn't have that 3 year layoff, but this is still heavyweights, which I hate to bet, and still, unless I see a huge line discrepancy of what I think it should be. So I'm just staying away. I'll pick Ivanov, just a more active fighter, and a guy he was pretty damn good. He was somewhat hyped up coming into the UFC, and I know he came in a lot later than he should have, but I'll pick him to win a decision, I guess. Ugh, that's gonna get ugly. What's the total in this fight?
Ooh.
It is
2.5.
It's
even money.
No, it is 2.5. More 2.5 heavyweight fights.
Yep.
Gross. Yeah. Picks it, Ivanov.
You know what? If they book a heavyweight fight and the over gets set at 2.5, they should cancel the fight and rebook it as something else.
Yeah, just throw their names in a hat and then come out again, and we'll. If it's a 1.5, then we're good to go.
Yeah, nobody wants to see this shit.
Nope.
Brad, any thoughts here?
If Curtis Jackson got shot a bunch of times and turned into 50 Cent, does that mean that after getting stabbed, Blagoy Ivanov is like 25 stotinka?
What the fuck?
You guys will have to look that one up.
I'm not gonna do it.
That's the equivalent of a cent in Bulgarian currency.
Bulgaria.
Have you been to Bulgaria?
No, I haven't. I looked it up. I did my research specifically for the podcast.
Look at that.
I take my job seriously.
All you tape studying dummies out there, you need to be looking up foreign currency.
That's right. That's where the real money is, anyways. Yeah, I kind of like Ivanov in this fight. Ben Rothwell's coming off a ridiculous layoff. Was never that good to begin with. Is just like as Wes said, he's just a sloppy fat fuck who dances around if he ever gets a win. And yeah, I don't think that all the stuff that he brings to the table, which is just kind of a whole lot of confusion and not really a bunch of substance, is really going to trouble a dude that's been stabbed a bunch of times. He's going to keep coming forwards, and Rothwell is going to absolutely gas, and this is going to get hideous. So I hope that maybe Ivanov can get him down and get a sub before we get into the real fatty's going to fatty. I love me some fatty's going to fatty. I don't want to wait 12 and a half minutes to see it. I want that shit to be right away.
Yeah, we only like fatty's gonna fatty when it happens in 7.5 minutes, motherfuckers.
That's right.
Yeah, I got Ivanov a C+, Rothwell, I had Rothwell before the layoff at B-, so it's again really hard.
You can't rank him at this point.
Yeah, you can't rate someone exactly. That's the issue. I'm kind of with you guys. Ivanov's kind of a guy. He'll be able to stick around. We saw him stick around for 5 rounds. Junior Dos Santos. I mean, we saw what Junior Dos Santos did to Rothwell. So, okay. I mean, we learned that I think these guys are fairly equal. I think Ivanov could be a bit busier, and that could be the difference. Rothwell's kind of is more of a blitzer, and Ivanov's more consistent. I think has maybe a better gas tank as well. So, I'm gonna say Ivanov, but it's without really knowing where Rothwell is at. It's really hard to gauge. 3 fights left. We got Timmy Means and Nico Price. I think this should be fun, Wes. Maybe.
Yeah. I think it should be fairly interesting. It's hard for me to see. I love Tim Means, man. That dude's put on great fights for a long time now, but just think he's getting a little long in the tooth, man. At 35, he's been in some wars, man. Not saying that I don't think he's not better than Nico Price. I think the hype kind of caught up with Nico Price this last time out. But then again, I don't think Means is bringing the heat that Alisson brings, man. Even though I think Tim Means should win this fight, man, laying over 2-1 on him in this spot just seems a little fishy to me. Something I don't want no part of. I'm going to pick Tim Means, but I'm staying away from this fight. It just, the line seems kind of funny to me.
All right. Nushan.
I like Tim Means here. The hype definitely caught up to Nico Price. I don't think he's that good. He definitely has some power, but the guys that he's been able to crack, it seems like they've kind of had some bad chins. I don't think Tim Means has the greatest chin, but I think Tim Means has better cardio. He is sharper striking, and I think he can probably also get Nico Price down if he really wants to. He is getting a bit long in the tooth at 35, and Nico Price is pretty well. He's 29, but I just think Tim Means is still the better veteran fighter. He's been here before, and Nico Price coming off a bad KO. We'll see what he's got. I took the shot, so I put Tim Means in the parlay with Dawson. I got plus 125 for 1 unit. I guess we'll see what Nico Price has.
All right, Bradley.
Yeah, this is a weird one for me because I've never thought that Nico Price was good, and I think I lost a little bit of money betting against him a few times, and then when he actually lost, it was either I wasn't watching, or it was a fight where I think he was the price was actually pretty reasonable, and I probably should have bet him or bet Luque against him, but whatever. You miss some dumb shit every once in a while. Anyways, the good thing about him is that weird shit always seems to happen in his fights, so at least something fun should happen here. Maybe Means gets in the clinch and busts him up with some elbows, or maybe Means gets him in the clinch and Nico Price busts him up with some elbows. So, you never really know because he's just kind of wild and kind of seems like he doesn't know what he's doing in there. But most of the time it works. Maybe it works here because Tim Means is old in real years, old in fight years, old in prison years. Tim Means is just an old dude, no matter how you slice it. But I'm just going to stay away from this one. There's a lot of question marks all over the place here.
There are certainly some question marks. There's no denying that. I got both guys a C-. Means is 5 years older. Brad alluded to that. Size is similar. The reality is Tim Means landed a lot more. I think it could come down to volume, and that should certainly play a factor here. If there are takedowns, I would expect them to come from the Nico Price end of it, but I don't see this being a Nico Price secures takedowns throughout and wins this kind of fight. I'm leaning towards Means. Again, volume. ability to throw, hit in the pocket. I don't think Nico Price can really keep up with Means' striking acumen. So I'll take Timmy Means to win this bout. 2 fights left. We got this one is probably the sneaky good fight on the card. We got Curtis Millender taking on Elijah Dushku.
Hell yeah,
Wes.
Yeah. I think going into this fight, we know who's probably packing the bigger hog. But
do we?
I think we do, but I don't think he knows how to use it. I think it knocks his center of gravity off, and the dude can't stop a takedown for shit.
Definitely keeps him on the ground.
He doesn't have an anchor.
Weighs him down.
There's no anchor.
Yeah, man. Curtis Millender's on a crazy good run, man, and the dude's got just insane athletic ability, man. The dude's improving and getting better, but man, Elijah Dushku is going to be a legit tough out here, and there's one thing that Millender is still very, very bad at, and he can't stop a takedown. He just can't. I mean, Lance's fucking baby boy could take Millender down tomorrow. I guarantee fucking to you. Our boy fucking Leo out there in Denver could take fucking Millender down tomorrow and give a thumbs up.
Yeah, he could.
So, I mean, I like Dushku in this spot, man. The line's I believe getting a tiny bit better itself. It's even money now. I'm gonna hold off a little longer, but actually, outside of Maurice, man, this is my other favorite spot on the card. Really, don't get me wrong. I know Millender could land some shit here and take him out, but I mean that's a tall task as well. I mean. Dushku hasn't been actually knocked out in like over 6 years. So that, and I think that's about the only way Millender gets this done here. So, I'm going to take Elijah Dushku, and, I think he can grind out a decision here. I think he can get takedowns in every single round and grind him out on the mat.
Brad, thoughts on the co-main?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Wes here. It's hard for me to shake the vision of Millender in Bellator losing to like Brennan Ward and those sorts of guys. Obviously, he's gotten significantly better since then. Pretty dynamic offense, good kicking game, all that fun stuff that you like to see, but that's part of the problem with his bad takedown defense is the guy tries to use his legs so much for offense that just it could be the hog that's throwing him off balance. It could be just the fact that he's throwing a bunch of kicks that he's not setting up and letting guys get inside on him. So even if this stays on the feet, it's going to be competitive. I don't think that Millender is going to be putting Dushku out. So that means that eventually, I know this happens less and less. It used to be a certainty in MMA. Eventually the fight would get to the ground. But I just think in any Curtis Millender fight, it's an eventuality that it's going to get to the ground. And when it does, I think there's just a big, big disparity in this one. And even if it's not, Dushku can go toe-to-toe with him on the feet and get his licks in, and I think he's got the better chin of the two. So kind of no matter where this one goes, I favor Dushku to pick up the victory, and a little bit of dog, well, it's even money right now, but that little plus sign beside the name is tempting me.
Yeah, I got Dushku at C plus.
Come on.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. All right.
I actually have. I got 2 units on Elijah Dushku here.
Shit! Look at him flat.
I like Brad and Wes said. I think the striking is close. I think Millender might have a bit more power, but I think Elijah Dushku has got the sharper strikes and probably the more active striking game. And the X factor there is the takedown defense. Elijah Dushku, obviously not a takedown artist. His takedown percentage is pretty low, but I just like to see that he's going for takedowns in some of those past fights, because I do think he can get it here. He's going to have to watch for that knee that Melender likes to throw when guys come in tight, which has brutalized a couple guys' ribs. But I think, like Wes said, I think Elijah Dushku can get him down at least a couple times in this fight and do some damage on the ground and get a decision here. So I definitely give the edge to Elijah Dushku. I was a bit surprised by this line.
I got Dushku as C+, Millender a C. Was really surprised to see the striking stats nearly identical. Strikes landed per minute and absorbed per minute, they're almost literally identical for both guys. So I fully expect a really competitive matchup on the feet. Neither guy really attempts takedowns, so it's really competitive from that perspective. We've seen Dushku against better competition, I think, overall across the board in comparison to Millender. So to me, that's one way you have to lean. I just think he just has more variety. Even though Millender is a pretty good stand-up striker, I like Dushku's variety, and I like his power shots. I'm gonna take him, but it's pretty close. Main event, we got Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, taking on former champion Junior Dos Santos. Another test for Derrick Lewis. Can he once again find a way to victory, Wes? Can he do it again?
Get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Wes's favorite fighter.
He loves him.
Look, man, this guy, he got starched by Hunt, getting this shit pieced up by Tybura. Didn't even beat Ngannou. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He didn't even win that fight. Getting the shit kicked out of him by Volkov. I mean,
you forgot getting the shit kicked out of him by Travis Brown too.
I'm telling you.
And then Rahimov.
Fucking Cormier, just like a cat playing with a dead mouse. I mean, come on, man.
Like, seriously. A dead mouse.
Come on, dude. This guy, like, I get it. He's got just crazy power, but man, he's got some of the worst conditioning I've ever seen on any fighter ever. Like any fighter. Besides that, I think JDS, like somebody mentioned earlier, Sean mentioned, he's been kind of undervalued here the past couple of years. I think he's kind of turned around his fight game a little bit. He's a little bit more cerebral. Tries to not get in those huge exchanges anymore. So I don't think this fight's really close, man. I mean, Derrick Lewis is gonna have to land that bomb. I don't think Santos is somebody like Volkov, though, that's going to win 90% of the fight and then be a total mook and start swinging dumb shit with 20 seconds left. That's not JDS. I think JDS does whatever he wants in his fight. I don't think the skill level is close at all. 2-1 is fine with me. I'll probably have that in a parlay, but I'm going to hammer JDS points when it comes out. Probably sprinkle on him inside the distance. But, man, it would take one of those dumbass Derrick Lewis fucking moments for him to win this fight. I guess it could happen. I've seen it too many times in my life to even fucking want to see it again, but it's out there. I don't see it. JDS rolls in this fight. Yeah. And I like Derrick Lewis now. I like him outside the cage. I think he's a sack of shit fighter. Like, I really do.
It cost you an absolute shit ton of money.
Yes, the guy has. Like, he really has. And I'm fine admitting that. I'm fine saying he's a cool ass dude. I love the dude outside the cage. Man, he is literally a fucking...
He luck boxes.
He's a barroom fucking bouncer that literally can hit you with a punch and knock you out. I get it. Dude's got crazy power. Everything else about him is fucking shit.
All right. Noosh, I'm going to let you go this time. How do you counteract that?
Oh, that's hard to. I love Derrick Lewis fights because it just always riles up. It's always my favorite. Yeah, it's hard not to side with Junior Dos Santos in this fight. He's obviously the much more skilled fighter, has better cardio, cleaner boxing. Unfortunately, sometimes that just doesn't matter, especially at heavyweights. We just rattled off all these fights Derrick Lewis has been losing, and a lot of them kind of losing badly, and somehow he pulls it out. I don't know if he's just running a hot streak, like in craps or something, but I think JDS it's kind of scary because JDS we kind of thought he was done just multiple times after those beatings by Kane, and then getting flatlined by Overeem, and then getting flatlined by Stipe. He seems to keep coming back, so he is getting up there in age and beatings and stuff like that. But I think with his clean boxing, as long as he doesn't get caught like he did in the Overeem fight, he should be good. I can't see Derrick Lewis lasting 5 rounds.
No way.
I don't. No way. It's so hard for me.
We said that last week, though.
That dude can't breathe after like 7 minutes. Like, he'll literally lay on his back because he can't fucking move after like 7 minutes.
And he doesn't like getting hit in the stomach either.
So the latest he's been in a fight, he went 350 into the 4th round against Mark Hunt. That's the longest he's lasted. He went into the 4th round against Shamil Abdurrahimov. Same sort of thing, 3 minutes, 42 seconds. I think JDS is going to put him away a bit earlier. He's just going to be dead tired from taking punches. I think I'm going to have to play JDS inside at plus 111. Like I said, I can't go big on heavyweights because dumb shit happens, and you got to watch out for Derrick Lewis because he does crazy shit from time to time. So JDS is the pick.
All right, Bradford. Can you give us an abridged version of what Nushan said?
Yeah, basically JDS is a more conservative version of himself since he got knocked out a bunch of times and took a couple beatings. Derrick Lewis is, very aware of the fact that he doesn't have the greatest chin and he doesn't have the greatest durability when it comes to body shots. So he's pretty conservative, looking for the counterpunch. So I think it's going to be a lot of JDS backing Derrick Lewis up, throwing, some combinations, landing a bunch of shots. Lewis is going to come out and throw some haze and probably hit a whole lot of air, rinse and repeat. And, I know that you guys were just saying that you don't think that it's going to go all that long. I wouldn't be shocked if we got another JDS pick them apart 5-round decision. And
don't know if Lewis can stand after 20
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. He'll just lean against the cage and JDS will, just throw the punches to his body and throw some jabs, and then Lewis will get sick of getting hit for a little while, so he'll throw a flurry that'll get JDS to back off, and then it's going to go back to do the exact same thing.
How many times you see Lewis flat on his back in this fight, JDS is landing a couple kicks to his legs? Like, there's going to be multiple times that he's literally flat on his back with his fucking hands behind his head, just laying.
There's a legitimate danger that it might get stopped because the ref tells Lewis to stand up, and he just can't
get up.
Oh, what a fat sack of shit.
All right, I'll close it out. I got Junior Dos Santos a B, Derrick Lewis a B-. Do I think Derrick Lewis still is B- level? No, but he does find ways to win fights over pretty good fighters. I got Volkov a B+, and he beat Volkov. The thing about this is I think Junior Dos Santos has been in the cage long enough. He's been there several rounds with a lot of quality fighters, from the Mark Hunts to even Ivanov, who we talked about, Ben Rothwell, guys that are fairly similar at level than Derrick Lewis, and he's just a veteran. I mean, I know Tuivasa kind of gave him some issues, but he ultimately won that fight as well. Derrick Lewis isn't as aggressive. After you get through the first couple minutes, Derrick Lewis is going to slow down significantly, and then you just have to avoid it. He's not going to get takedowns on JDS. That's not happening. And it could just kind of stand at range. Junior Dos Santos is perfectly fine with that. He's a much better technical striker. This is a fight he really should win. but Derrick Lewis seems to be a fighter who wins fights that he shouldn't win. So you really
got that horse.
Yeah, you can't be super confident anytime you're in the cage and betting against Junior Dos Santos. Or betting against Derrick Lewis. I'll say
we're
that.
Gonna look back on this one and be like, "Holy shit!"
I know.
JDS was.
I thought the same thing about that the Volkov fight about 14 minutes in too.
How about 8 seconds left?
And JDS isn't Volkov though either. Like JDS is really, really fucking good still. Like he's really good still.
Speaking of how good JDS is, where would you guys rank? Do you think he's like a top 10 all-time heavyweight?
Yes.
Do you think he's that high?
Skill wise, he's got to be. I think.
Easily.
Yeah. I think you can get in and start breaking down his actual like how many wins he has and stuff. But skill wise, yeah, I think he is.
It's not even close.
It's just tough because he was in the same era as actual Kane, who could fight at that point. And if Kane wasn't around, he probably would have had a decent winning streak with the belt. But that's the way it goes.
His skills are still incredible.
I hope he doesn't do his patented turn and run away in this fight when Lewis gets, because that makes me cringe every time that he's just.
I don't.
He did it. He did it in Tuivasa fight, but he didn't get caught.
Can Lewis move that fast though to get him to have to turn around and
run? Let's hope not.
Yes, let's hope not. And with that is the end of our show this week. Thank Brad again for making it 2 weeks in a row. Maybe
2 out of 3.
Nope, two out of 3.
Oh, sorry, 2 out of 3.
But 3 in a row with an OG other than Jay.
Yep.
That is something. All right, guys. Thanks for listening again. Enjoy the fights, and we'll be back. Have a good night.